Good morning, everyone. Here we are for week 2 of Dafuq Happened, the Greene Fyre Review's weekly news headlines. I'm the Greene Fyre. Some of you know me as Mary Lynn, depending on in which context you met me. And I'm here with the indefatigable, irrepressible, and at times terrifying Deb Filipiana.
Oh, here I am, live from Stoneham at the Mermaid Lounge.
The Mermaid Lounge.
Ready to go.
You gotta love it. You're okay. So we both live in Amesbury. How weird is that? So I'm going to do my Amesbury accent a little bit. Your Mermaid Lounge is beautiful. You have fantastic taste, Deb.
Thank you. That's mostly Susan. She is the home decorator.
It's beautiful. Okay, so we were both using toys before we came on. This is my little jade roller thing, which gets rid of puffiness and it cools my face and it makes me feel less spastic, which I have to use quite often for that reason. And what are you playing with?
I have this little magic pen here of happiness that allows me to deal with politicians more effectively during the day when I get stressed out.
Is that your poison pen?
It's my poison pen. Yeah.
You must have picked that up in Italy somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. Right down the street in a little Pakistani neighborhood.
I was thinking of something that more had a reference to the Borgias, but
no.
Firenze.
There you go.
Oh I get animated and talk in my heads. We're both Italian girls from Massachusetts.
Right.
We're more or less the North Shore.
That's right. More or less.
Mostly more. Right.
Mostly more.
And I can't believe we lived in Amesbury, the weirdest little town ever.
I know, isn't it? But you know what? It's underrated too. That little downtown area.
Oh my God! But my parents were behind that, and my brother. So anyway, we can talk about that another time. Let's get into the headlines.
All right.
So, this is going to be fast-paced, guys. Helene Scarpato says, "Hey, ladies, Italian girl here too. Look out." Okay, Deb, I think I'm going to have to handle the comments. I'm going to put them up quickly so people can see them and they're recorded on the video. So you have to throw out the topics. Okay.
Oh, I'm not up now. See, my topic thing just disappeared.
Okay. That's all right. I'm going to go. Topics. So number 1, we're going to talk about 5G. Okay, 5G. They're using a psyops around the term 5G. A lot of people are getting 5 gigabyte internet, which is cable, fiber optic cable, and they think, oh, that means I have 5G, and they don't think it's anything wrong with it. 5G is 5th generation cellular, and it's a totally different ballgame. It's many, many, many times more electromagnetic radiation than we've gotten in the past. It's going to be harder to avoid because it's short range, and they're going to put it on telephone poles and trees, and even on your house, and you won't be able to avoid it. It's millimeter wave, so it's like living in one of those things that you go through at the airport that they tell you it's not radiation, which is a fucking lie. I don't even know. Those people, they must have to give them a chemical lobotomy in order to get the job. But anyway, so our first headline is Congress took $101 million in donations from the ISP industry. And there's a list at The Verge of how much your lawmaker got. And again, this is all at the Greene Fyre Review. And I posted that this week, and a little article from the Activist Post. Love the Activist Post about that.
I do too.
And a little article from the Activist Post about how your wireless projects in Malfunction catch fire or explode. And I'm also going to post a link to a video I just found last night from a scientist who's on the Brain Tumor Council. And he was on KGNU here in Boulder this week. And he was talking about the fact that this is unproven technology. They're not revealing to us either what the wavelengths are or when they're even rolling it out. They keep changing the story. And the laws have been passed so that we have, according to Congress, we have no right and no recourse to keeping these things from beaming into our houses.
Right.
So have you seen the picture of the lady, Deb, who has the thing beaming into her front window?
Yeah, this is where I started getting really scared about this, because I've been kind of looking at it, but saying I got to really read up on it, but I don't have time right now. And when I started looking at this a little bit before the show, I said, wow, this is frightening. What's frightening is you don't have control. You have nothing to say.
We have nothing to say. And I ordered an electromagnetic, an EMF device, and it looks like it's from a one-man shop in Israel. I mean, this looks like his nerd who probably just is making them in his back room. Like all of those people we've known over the years on 128 with their little tiny contracts for Saudi Arabia, right, Deb?
Right,
and
exactly.
They rent one room in the top of a factory and one of the leftover factories in Lawrence. I did those jobs and summer jobs. So anyway, I'm talking to him and I'm trying to say, will this thing pick up the EMF from 5G? And he goes, oh yeah, it goes up to 8G. And I'm like,
8G?
No, listen. He was lying to me, and he knew that he was. I said, will this pick up? Will it pick up? Will be sensitive to the radiation from 5G wireless, right? And I was like, oh yeah, it goes up to, and I'm because the only 5G is cable modem, and I sent him the specs in the email saying, here's what they're saying might be the potential, because they're going to go like 26 gigahertz to 75 or 78. It's a scary band.
Right.
It's millimeter waves. And he just answered my first question. It didn't answer the second one. And that's how they're using it as a psyops. So that you think, oh, 5G is great. I have fast internet wireless in my house. And you don't realize that they're trying to get you used to the idea so that you don't notice when your brains are being cooked like a fucking egg on the sidewalk.
Right. Exactly. And I was looking at some of the money that was flowing in that report.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to go searching for all of my representatives, but Elizabeth Warren took $40K and some change from those people.
Oh, the people in Colorado and Denver is one of the top. They were in the top 10 people who got the money. And guess what is one of the top 11? They got over $1 million. Bennett and Gardner got over $1 million.
Steny Hoyer too, 1.4 million. I was just looking at Democrats real quick to see what the split was. Adam Schiff, 221,000.
Oh, what a little worm he is! Oh.
I know. And I'm looking at who the heck who brands himself a Merkley. He's a progressive. He took $80,000. You're not a progressive, and you take $80,000 from special interest. That's not the way it works.
Sorry, but you're not a conservative either.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're just a corporatist, because if you're truly a conservative, you want to conserve people's health, their freedom, their privacy, and that is all bullshit.
It is absolutely.
Okay, so people are saying thank you for the video. Mike John says all the proof 5G is bad is within the mainstream spectrum of information. Mike John, I'm going to count on you to post links so that we can put together our own FAQ, because a lot of what's out there is crazy me. And the other thing people need to look at is everyone needs to go today. I beg you, for the future of humanity and for yourself and for your children, I beg you, go to InPower, I think it's .org today, and look at their information on how they are helping people to regain their sovereignty and to stand up to these guys.
Okay.
And they say that, and they're working right now on not 5G, but okay, now I'm having a brain fart. The smart meters, which is related. But they say that their material is applicable to 5G and they're going to be expanding it. So everyone go to InPower, and Will, can you post the link? So, okay, so let's move on to the next one, Deb. I'm exhausted from that one. You're going to have to lead.
Okay, which one is it? What is it? I don't have it in front. I still don't have it up.
Mueller's investigation of Farce files no indictment against Russian trolls. Okay, Mueller's, I'm just going to say this before you go. Mueller is in deep shit. Mueller is a deep state operative. If you go and you look up Sibel Edmonds' whistleblowing about the Gulag Network, which is Operation Gladio in the U.S. and all over the Mideast and Central Asia. And they're even, who even knows of the Gulag Network? Actually, it's all over the world now, Indonesia, because it's a connection. It's a group of madrasas which serve as training programs for terrorists. So anyway, and that's all CIA funded. Sorry, I get excited when I start talking about the Operation Gladio because nobody knows anything about it. But anyway, Mueller is all wrapped up in that shit, and that's just the beginning. He's been a deep state swamp monster for a long time. He's all wrapped up with the Clintons. He's all wrapped up with Comey and Obama, and they are all part of the coup to take down Trump, who he's a bit of a douchebag, but you know what? He's not the worst Republican douchebag we've ever had. It's just that the environment is giving him more power to be horrible, which was given to him by Obama and others. So that's what I want to say about that, and now you take it.
So this whole, when you think about this whole investigation, 20 months,
yeah,
you've got to wonder how many millions of dollars. And you're looking at, this is the best they can come up with for indictments.
It was a joke. It was a fuck you. They
had to do something. So what did they do? They came up with indictments against people they have absolutely no jurisdiction over. And honestly, what did they do that I didn't do? I posted anti-Hillary Clinton stuff all over the web the whole time she was running. So
with the ferocity of your posting power, your impact was probably worth much more than the $150,000 that they did, or whatever that was. And it wasn't even mostly Hillary Clinton stuff. It was just stuff about America's bad and shit. And it's like, oh my God. And there's some evidence that the same swamp monsters actually paid to have all of that stuff happen so that they would have to hang it on. So anyway, look at Disobedient Media's article about it. It's really good. It's on the page.
Excellent. Yeah, and it also talks about, the fact that the whole thing with Peter Dow and what's his name there, Brock, whatever his name is, they did far more than the Russian trolls.
Yeah. Oh, their trolls were way more. I mean, how many millions of dollars did? What was it? 1.6 million.
It's over $1 million.
Will know. Will's sitting here. He's our. What was her name? Robin, the one, that really cool gal who produces for that shock jock. Howard Stern's.
Oh,
He's our Robin. Anyway, okay. So let's go on to the next one. Let's see if we can get this done like in record time.
All right, let's go.
CIA argues the public can't see classified information is already given to favored reporters. So this came from the Daily Caller, and it was also covered in some of our other favorite other favorite alternative media. So what's the story here, Deb?
I just think they just don't want the public to know anything. I think they want to sanitize it through the media. And they keep things out of our hands, and basically the media in this country acts like a big giant filter for the government and for the parties.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's think for a minute. So there's about 20 there's about 20 banks and central banks that own 147 banks and central banks and holding companies that own all the corporations in the world, every fucking one. That was done out of Switzerland. I think it was out of Zurich. It was the complex systems analysts. It was a peer-reviewed study. Okay, so the banks that own the central banks, which are private fucking banks, they print their own money. They have unlimited ability to do that, unlimited money to bribe politicians. They also own the media. Yep. They also own the military-industrial complex and all of the corporations that are now fully embedded in our government, in the governments of most of the companies in the countries in the world. I said companies because they are corporations, because when you can print unlimited money, you can buy the politicians, and you can get government replaced with corporations. So we have worldwide fascism. Anyone who doesn't believe this has been listening to.
And now look, what are they doing? They're putting CIA people and FBI people into positions in the media. Yeah, like Brennan, that's like the ultimate in infiltration in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, Operation Mockingbird just took off all of its clothes and it's doing
seriously. Like what? I'm going to believe Brennan when he reads media to me, when he gives me news. I'm going to believe him. Some people will. There's still an awful lot of people who think people in positions of authority like that will not lie to them. I have actually spoken to these people still to this day. They trust the CIA and the FBI, and they don't question anything. I'm flabbergasted by that.
You have to understand that the bread and butter that was put on my table growing up was IBM, Honeywell, Raytheon. My dad was working for these companies. He was an engineer. He was military, and then he went into all this stuff. My brothers and sisters. That's the world that we grew up in, and those people are highly news kettled. Chris Hedges describes how carefully it's done, so that the people who are the most educated, the technocrats, people with the highest income, they get news that shows them this perfect picture of a world where hard work makes you hard work and being able to toe the line and, figure out corporate culture makes you successful. And then if you listen to NPR, the New York Times, and you feel things, then you're a really progressive person, and give some money to the Nature Conservancy so they can take some more land away from people forever to live on. And you're a really great person. And everything that's happening to people, well, those poor brown people, they just had a rough start. Maybe I'll put a little bit money to the Negro College Fund.
Right.
So those are people we lived with, we grew up with. So that's who you know.
Yeah. And maybe not so related, but the other thing that I find flabbergasting is, look, I'm having a brain fart too now. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember what it is. It'll come back to me. Well, it was kind of an aside, but it's completely.
Well, we were talking about the people that we and the people who think that they'll believe Brennan. They'll believe Brennan on the news.
They believe Brennan on the news. What was it? I'm lost. I've lost it.
That's okay. So we were talking about.
It wasn't a critical part of the conversation. It was just like, wow, that too. But I can't remember what it was.
So on the Daily Caller, what happened is that somebody who was in the alternative media, I can't remember who it was, filed a FOIA request, and they get this crazy redacted stuff while the same thing was being sent, I think ahead of time or at the same time to the media, and they were reading it on the fucking news. It's a big fuck you.
It is. It's amazing.
To stand up.
It's amazing. It's and they do this stuff like now everything is in plain sight here. They don't even make excuses for this stuff anymore.
No, they don't.
And they don't feel like they have to. I think again that goes back to they don't fear the people, so they just can keep. That's right. They keep doing it, and they keep pushing the envelope even further.
Well, and that's what, like the 5G. It's like, they didn't argue, and we made them sick with 1G, 2G, 4, 3G, 4G. Let's just fry them with 5G. They won't even notice. We'll just scare them and tell them that they don't have any right to speak out. I can't remember who it was, the commentator who said we should be going after these things with baseball bats. I'm thinking that we make these great big tea cozies, throw it at night, we put them around it with reflective. And if it reflects the microwaves back into the box and it fries them, well,
oops. I forgot.
No, we gotta protect ourselves. It's just a little tea cozy. I didn't want it to get, hurt in the acid, the sulfuric acid and the aluminum oxide, rain that's coming down from the geoengineering. We were just trying to be helpful, but we have to stand up. We are going to stand up. This is the item that we are going to stand up on. It's bullshit. We need to be talking to our sorry, I went back to that one, but it's just really bothering me. No. We need to be talking to our telecoms. We need to be yelling at our centers nicely. We need to be getting everyone we know to write letters to their cellular provider and say, you roll this out in my neighborhood, I'm canceling. I'm done with it. We need to be doing all of these things, and we need to be looking at InPower's path to sovereignty and see if there's anything real there. So now, Jesus Christ, sorry, Jesus, but
personally,
Mother of God, now I'm fucking studying constitutional law and fucking physics.
I know, really. But what? If we don't do this for ourselves, we're never going to know what's going on. So
that's right.
It's just the way it is. We have to be citizen. I don't know what it is. We have to be citizen. We have to be citizen reporters. We have to be whatever it is to take. We have to figure this out because they're not going to help us.
We are our advocates. We are our own lawyers. Spanish for lawyer is advocate, abogado.
Yep.
Avocat in French, I think. I might have just made that up. Or maybe that's Lithuanian. I have too many languages in my head. But we have to be all of these things, and we have to be our cheerleaders, and we have to create our own community. And fuck it, we're doing it. And Deb, you and I know old ladies are changing the world.
They are.
Because we're fearless, we get gravitas, we've taken all of the shit, we know all of the games, and we're fucking changing the world. Okay, we're going to the next one.
Let me just say one more thing about Mueller. Sure. I did see an article that I just as I was coming on, flipped up in my corner. They have some kind of propaganda out there, and I haven't seen it yet. Something about the evidence from the Mueller indictment shows how virulent the Russian meddling was. So I don't know what that stuff's all about, but I got to go look at that after because that just sounds like a plant story to me.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah. So okay. I just want to say I saw that. So
Oh yeah, they're all plants. Yeah, so we have to get really good at looking at something going, oh, that's totally fake, and just letting ourselves die a little tiny bit inside with disappointment and shame and horror that this is the world that we live in, the black mirror that we live in. Okay, vaccines, number 4.
Oh, yeah.
Keep this up, Deb. We're lagging.
I know we are. And you know what? I didn't, the vaccine story, I did not have a chance to read.
Okay, I'm going to just do it really, I'm going to do it in 1 minute. The CDC funded a study that shows that vaccinated people shed 6.3 times more flu virus just by breathing.
Right. I did see that.
And that's up. It's from the wilddoc.com. And, we also have been posting articles with the Tamiflu showing how horribly sick it makes people. Yep. And then and one of the wonderful little PsyOps channels that analyzes QAnon, it's actually just a propagandic dissemination. I'm pretty sure that there's 3 or 4 of them out there that are plants, because the way that they do it, they all do it in a very, very clever way that covers this political spectrum. Right. But one of them was like, now Q was talking about the flu vaccine. Did you know that there's a drug that kills the flu virus within 24 hours? Isn't that amazing? It's so much better than Tamiflu. And I'm like, oh, this isn't a PsyOps. This isn't designed to get every patriot out there to get on board with the pharmaceutical company because Donald Trump is taking down the swamp monsters. Q is bullshit. We can't talk about it this week, but yeah, everyone go try and find that. If anyone finds that study, the 24-hour kill, let's post it so we can pick it apart for next time, because I smell PsyOps. So we're done with that.
And the other thing about, I wanted to say one thing. My son is autistic. We went through that round, the MMT thing, and it's funny. I look back now and I trusted my doctor implicitly, right? Yeah. And we were very close, but, I look now at the Gardasil thing, and I gave both of my kids that, and I wish I'd never done that. Now I'm thinking other stuff too. I'm thinking, wow, it's amazing how you trust people and you trust situations. You don't look stuff up and you don't think. And then after the fact, you say, now I'm looking back, because now I'm like that. I'm like that with everything now.
I'm vaccine, Deb. I'm on the autism spectrum, and I'm vaccine damaged. But I've done so much work and so much research, because one of the things that happens is when your brain inflames, a lot of people's brains, they go on overdrive, and they actually build more neurons, and so that's how you end up with savantism. Yeah. And I have a brain that allows me to encyclopedically go through information, and I've done so much detox that I don't really seem autistic to most people. I mean, I have my meltdowns and overstimulation, but I was vaccine damaged myself. I know that it happened in my family multiple times. There's a lot of really good information out there on vaxxed.com. Know about the bus that they go around and they interview all the families whose kids went into autism, within 24 hours or 36 hours of getting the vaccines, and their names are all over the bus, and a lot of them have died. And
yeah, I just, I look back and I think to myself, what was he like, before that? I was trying to pick up on it. I was even looking at photos the other day. I found a bunch of photos from when he was little, but he's great now. He's worked really hard at it. He's very social. He's got friends, but he does have moments, and he does like to be alone a lot. And it's, yeah. So it's a funny thing when you start thinking about, thinking for yourself. Like Susan, because I gave it to the kids, and then we started reading about the Gardasil. The 2 younger boys are not having it. We're not.
Oh, thank God. I'm so glad, Deb. Okay, so, and the other thing that we need to point out is that the evidence keeps sneaking out there that the K30 are a bunch of fucking hypocrites, because they think everyone should get vaccinated, but they're not vaccinating their kids. The majority of people who are vaccine questioning or schedule modifiers, or even anti-vax, which most people aren't.
Right.
That's a PsyOps, a straw man to get everyone to hate us.
Oh, yeah.
The upper class, they're the same people who buy the homeopathic oscillococcinum flu shit at Whole Foods, at Whole Paycheck.
Whole Paycheck Market.
The Whole Paycheck Market. Remember the first one over there? Was it in Harvard Square or Kendall Square? I don't remember.
Was it the one? It wasn't River Street, right? It was Prospect Street. It was Central Square.
Back Central Square, back when one of the squares, back when we thought it was so awesome. Yeah. All right, and autism rates in California have skyrocketed following the mandatory vaccine bill. All of these are up on the Green Fair Review. Everyone go look at them.
That's alarming, boy. That's scary.
Okay. So we're going to go on to philanthropy is a capitalist scam. Okay. Did you get a chance to look at Wrong Kind of Green yet, Deb?
I did look at some of Wrong Kind of Green. And you know what? I'm always amazed when people say to me, oh, well, the only reason Bill Gates doesn't have as much money as Jeff Bezos is he gives so much money to charities. I said, oh, he does. Yes, he does. They all do.
We post a lot of stories on the Green Fire Review about how philanthropy is used for social control. You don't even have to believe in any globalist anything.
That's
Just
right.
that philanthropists go in and they strong arm a country. I'm going to pay for XYZ if you do X concession.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we're going to give you this vaccine for, I don't know what it was, the one that they found had the, was it for tetanus, which like 2 people a year get, right?
Right.
We're going to give you this vaccine for tetanus if you look the other way about the fact that there's anti-fertility chemicals in it. Right. You know, and there's all of this debunking of that, which is all based on straw man. Polysorbates are anti-fertilities.
Right.
Polysorbates are in fucking everything, and they're very effective. In America alone,
yes,
the fertility rates are down 60%. If the elites thought that was a problem, they'd be screaming it from the rooftops. It's what they want. And philanthropy is mostly about social control. And if you also read Economic Hitman, you see that. And if you look at Vanessa Beeley's work on this, things like the white helmets, philanthropy is used to cover up the paving of the way for corporate takeover of a culture.
Yeah.
And
that's Soros's MO. You know, he's the one that dabbles in all the little countries, you know. I remember all of those WikiLeaks about Albania and all the things he wanted to help. You know, this is his, you know, the Kochs do it one way, he does it another way. And this is
Kochs do it too. I mean, you walk around, we're talking about Harvey, you walk around over there at Kendall Square and look at the Kochs name on all the fucking buildings. What are they funding?
I know. I went to see Susan's mother today in the hospital. I came out and there's a Trump building there. I went, oh my God.
Right. At the hospital, donated by Donald Trump.
Yeah. It's the Trump building. I went right by it.
So if you want to have access to the hidden cures for everything, donate a fucking building.
Right. Exactly. It's amazing.
Okay, so we're posting articles about this and we're not giving all the details because we're encouraging our readers to listen, read, and share. All right. So, I did put in a happy story. Turkish collectors open a library full of discarded books.
I love that. I think that is awesome.
And
I did.
Comment. I'm suddenly in the mood for a trashy novel.
I did see that. And I said to Susan, I said, this is the best story on this entire list. Yeah.
Isn't that what well, the Turks are out there on their little peninsula, you know, between the East and the West, and they've been the recipient of every possible empire, just like moving in and taking up place, and in Istanbul is overrun with cats, and the Turks understand cats because they're kind of like cats. They're like, just come in and like let's have some food, and if you leave, you're gonna leave, and we're just gonna continue to live, and you know.
Right. Exactly.
Roll what goes, and now we have Operation Gladio all over Turkey. Turkey's a nightmare, but the people they're resilient in that way that people become resilient when they've been oppressed with various regimes forever. And this is an example of resilience. And, you know, I'm seeing Americans more and more saying, what can we mine that's good from this shitty culture?
Right.
And I think we should take an example from that.
I do too. I love that story. I thought that was awesome.
I do too.
Yep.
Okay, one more. I'm talking more than you're going to let you talk. Oh, go for this one, Deb. Trump administration wants to decide what food stamp recipients will get. So I call it the box of poison.
Yeah, the box of poison. You know, and I can just see somewhere Jeff Bezos' name floating around there on the distribution list, you know, as far as getting this kind of a job. You know what? I used to be on food stamps, okay? And one of the things that I hear people saying is, well, you know, you can still go to those free kitchens they have. You know, if you end up with the boxes, you can still go to those kitchens and get food. Sure, you can go there and get canned food, boxed food. But if you do not have access to actual food stamps, there is no way to get fresh anything. And
that's right.
Again, it's the notion that people who are poor aren't worthy of that kind of food. They should be not buying fish. They should be buying, I don't know, Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Oh yeah. Well,
the prices
everything in the box is GMO.
Yeah.
So this is a complete corporate control package.
Right.
It's a perfect example. They might as well just put a little fucking complimentary 5G millimeter transmitter that you can use to microwave your food before you fry your brain. Just put it in a box.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, why waste steps?
It's amazing to me. It's just like I look at that and I say, we are in big trouble when we get to this point. Big trouble when we're talking about delivering boxes of food to poor people.
Boxes of GMO soy and canola and grain and peanuts, and it's all processed crap.
Yeah.
But Deb, what we really need to do is we need to help the K-30 figure out the importance of community gardens, because this is the kind of thing that they do because it's more elegant than, going out and actually helping poor Black women, build a home. And they can give away food to their communities, and they can start getting to know the downtrodden amongst them.
That's right.
We need to focus on community gardens. Anyone out there who, sorry.
All over Boston. I see them all over Boston.
So we need to really focus on making sure that the people at the community gardens give away their produce in the food deserts that they live in.
Right.
And they do it in a way that's generous and community oriented and isn't some kind of disgusting, humiliating form of oppressive charity, which is what these food boxes are. It's horrible.
It is. It's horrible. Even when you, no matter what you say to people, they don't understand. Even when you go and deal with the people who give you these things, in some instances, they're not even nice to you.
They're definitely not.
Horrible. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm a white person. I was a white person with 2 small disabled children. And when I think about how I get treated,
that's right.
I saw the way Hispanic people and Black women were treated. And it was always women doing all the fighting, because that's the way it was.
Well, also not, shall we say, terribly femmy. And I'm sure that you've gotten harassment for that too.
Right. Oh, yeah.
As I've gotten harassment for being way too femmy from a person like that person last time you and I went together who said, "Oh, it's unseemly for you to be swearing green fire, but it seems normal coming from Deb." And I was like, what kind of Luxus bullshit is that? We're from the same 30 fucking square miles.
I know, seriously.
Immigrants, basically the same age. What incredible insanity is this? Yeah,
but even when I was back, when I went homeless, I was with another person, and she was mentally ill, and basically they said to us, "Well, here's what we can do. We can't take her," pointing to me, because this was back in early 2000. All right, but we can put you and the 2 kids in a community home. I was going to leave my kids with someone who needed help, couldn't even.
Oh my God!
No recognition of gay anything in Massachusetts back then.
I know.
Right, so we said no. We went back and lived in a hotel. We sold the cars. We sold everything we had, and then we took it to court. They bought the legal aid said you need to challenge them and tell them you're bringing it to court, and they will place you immediately. And they did.
You ended up homeless because you shot your mouth out at a job and you got fired.
I ended up homeless because
I can imagine that happening to you.
I ended up homeless. That's part of it. That was part of it. But I remember even when I worked for my company, when I used to go to Europe, everybody used to take their wives. If I wanted to take my partner, they would tell me to put her on a separate flight.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I said, I'm not putting her on a separate front. Everybody I work with here, I had a European manager, but everybody I worked with knew we were partners and knew I was gay. It was no problem. I said, they said, well, they'll have something. He was Scottish. He goes, the sales department might have some cracks to make. I said, they all know I'm gay. I've been working with these guys for 15 years. They know me. I'm all right. You're the one with the problem.
Oh
we
my
do it
God.
all the time, but it was the whole thing with, being homeless was tough enough, but having that bullshit.
Horrible.
And I'm sure it's still like that in many.
Oh, it's absolutely that way everywhere. It's that way everywhere. So we have to stop treating the poor like they're somehow diseased or it's their fault. Okay.
You know what? There's going to be an awful lot of us pretty soon if it keeps going the way it's going.
Are the poor on the edge of it. Okay, let's talk about the Intercept briefly. bad shit's going on with The Intercept. It was founded by Omidyar, who it's designed basically to intercept whistleblowers. We don't have time to go through this. People should go look at that article. We're running out of time, Deb.
It's sad, though. It's sad for me because Glenn Greenwald is like, he was my guy, I'm very despondent over this. I have to say, I've been reading this for the last 3 or 4 days, and I'm trying to think, wow, how did that happen even? Why would they want to sell out Assange? Why would that be the case?
Well, the important thing I want to say here, Deb, is that the world is very, very, very much controlled in many, many different ways by the powers that be, the hidden government. There's lots of different names for it. I'm not going to go through all of them. I call them the banking cartel because I think that's the most accurate. And then there are layers of minions. And anybody who tells the truth is either going to take a break or they're going to come intimidate you in some way. And they're going to make you continue to be public and be telling untruths. And so we have to forgive the Noam Chomskys and the Chris Hedges and the Glenn Greenwalds who tell a little bit of the truth, and we have to develop our own ability to see when they've, and the Amy, what's her name? Amy Goodmans of Democracy Now! And we have to be willing to forgive them for the fact that they can't tell the whole truth, right, and try to see the part of the truth that they're doing and not waste time on it. We have to build our own truth. And yeah, what they're doing at The Intercept is pretty horrible. I mean, that seems particularly cynical and calculated. Did you notice that as soon as they created The Intercept, which was supposedly to analyze and release the Snowden files, all of a sudden there's no more Snowden files that crawled to zero?
Yeah.
Sibel Edmonds is the person to turn to. She has hilarious things to say about Glenn. She's one of us, Deb. Can you imagine? Can you imagine having a glass of Rocky with Sibel?
I know, huh? Hey, one other person, by the way.
Galliano, it's the same thing, right? Sit down for a glass of liqueur Galliano with, yeah.
There's also another whistleblower on Facebook, FBI whistleblower, that's familiar with the Mueller story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'll give you a link to her. She's always saying he's not the paragon of virtue you think she is.
Oh, no, Mueller's horrible. Yeah. Sibel has a lot to say about him. Okay, so going on to the next story. Oh, and then The Intercept smear of Assange was murderously timed just when he lost the court. Yeah, and that judge, the lady, she's actually one of the house. She's one of the elites. I guess what do we call them? The nobility.
Right.
She had such snide things to say. Let them eat cake. Well, if you want medical care, they have hospitals in the prisons.
Oh, yeah, I know. Oh, you know what? Can I say something? Fuck you, okay? Really?
Fuck you. And then, did you read the smear of Assange? I mean, it was turned right when he was, people need to go look at that one. But that's also, okay.
That's important. They're going after one of the only truth tellers we have out there now.
That's right. Okay, so let me see. The Senate has created a 700-page document on weather modification from the 70s. Explains a lot of what's going on now. Everybody who, I'm just mentioning this one so that anybody who still has skeptical friends and family, it's posted on the Green Fire Review. Download it, save the PDF, share it with your friends and say, they've been doing this for a long time. Right. We're just finally starting to get sick from it because it's accelerated so much. And when they admit it, you know that it's because they've been doing it for already 30 or 40 years. And everybody like me, who's from a family, where when I was a kid in 1976 or something, in my first job, working at Brazonics, and I was working with coaxial cables and a fax machine, my dad was like, oh yeah, we invented that. I'm like, what the fuck? Because everything is invented, and the ADT alarm systems, which went on the, the fiber optic, and he's like, oh yeah, we invented that. And I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, it was like Al Gore telling you that you invented the internet. It was my dad, right?
Right.
And so everybody knows that if they're finally admitting they're doing geoengineering, that shit was invented at least 40 years ago.
Absolutely.
So use that resource. Okay, false flag.
Yeah. Okay, so I always try to err on the side of conservatism, but I'm sorry. I think this thing was a false flag. I do.
Did you look at those interviews with the kids? They were all laughing, like twirling their hair and like, how do I look? They were like doing fucking video selfies.
Now, did you hear the latest? They're going to tear down that school.
Oh my God! This is in the playbook. This is
they tore down Sandy Hook. They tore down Sandy Hook.
In the playbook, everybody watching this needs to go find that video about how Sandy Hook was predictive programming.
Right. Oh, Sandy Hook. I have been through Sandy Hook. I'm flabbergasted that I even thought that might have been true one time. That's actually the one that really, like, I never believed 9/11 was anything but an inside job. But you know what? The school stuff I kind of meandered along with, and then I finally looked at Sandy Hook and I said, "There's just something wrong here. It's not right."
Yeah.
And this is shaping up to be all of that at some point. You know, they got
bit of it. So,
they had a hysterical guy on this morning, streaming. I'm an ex-con. He goes, there's no fucking way this kid, managed to do what he did, sneak out with the students, and then he went shopping and got something to drink and waited for them to come get him. He goes, he would have been out of town by then. He was.
And did you see the girl who was like reading the card and like checking her hair and going, "Yeah, I talked to him as he was leaving the school," and I said, "Well,
the blonde."
And then he was like, "Huh?" Like he didn't know what I was talking about. But there was other shooting happening at the same time anyway. And I'm like,
so if he did it, he didn't do it alone. That's what she said. And that video's gone. Can anybody find that video?
No, that video's gone.
Yeah, wiped out. Yeah, I just can't believe that. But I, like people are saying, well, there were dead bodies. Isn't that enough for you? I said, I didn't say people weren't killed. I'm just saying it's not happening the way you think it's happening.
Okay, so we posted several good resources here for that.
Yep.
I posted a picture of the shooter heard voices telling him to do it. It's a photo from the Army's skull-to-voice devices website before they yanked it.
Yep.
Okay, and that was a story on Wired, and I took screenshots because it's now going to disappear from Wired.
Right.
And of course, the suspect said he heard voices. All right, let's go on. Deb, we're getting up close to the hour. Do you want to talk about regime change? And we can focus on Venezuela and Iran and what's going on with that. And first thing I want to say is banking cartel, you don't cooperate with them. You don't just let them roll right in and take over your treasury and then start taking apart and selling off the resources of your country. You're going down.
Yeah, I think Venezuela is due for invasion. I really do. I think they're going to find a way, find an excuse, find a reason. Venezuela's got a shit ton of oil, and you know what? We're still in that mode. We are not the least bit interested in renewables because there are too many oil companies that want, and that's what they want, and they control our country. The corporations run this.
They're not going to give us renewables until we agree to carbon credits. That's the bargain that the oligarchic cartel is using against us. Until we agree to having a social score, which includes our calorie budget for the day, and having every single fucking thing we do controlled with our smart meters, so they have budget control on us, they're not going to give us renewables, and they're going to continue to scare us with their twisted, slanted, and highly exaggerated climate change stories, which there's obviously climate change, but the way that they're controlling the narrative, we don't really know what's going on with it.
Exactly.
We don't really know.
We don't. Now I'm hearing the scientists are saying that the ozone layer is improving. I'm not sure that I buy any of that shit. I don't know what's going on.
I have to figure out what's going on with Jane Wigington because I get so terrified when I go to that site.
I do too.
It feels to me like a psyop that to make me not watch it, and yet I know he has the best information, and so I have to sit down with my heart and my intuition and talk to people and figure out how much of that I think is real, because it could be 100% real, but I get so freaked out by the Dane Wigington angle that I can't do anything about it, and I don't know how useful that is.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know I have some friends that Amy Snow is a big believer in that. She's and I respect Amy a lot. So I have a hard time with that too. But they admit to this stuff. So to some degree, something's going on somewhere. And I just.
Well, there's clearly climate, the geoengineering, solar radiation management, all the 10 different names they have. They're clearly doing that too. And it's clearly got poisons in it. There was the material safety officer or whatever her title was for the Army, whose job was to protect the public, who, did the whistleblowing on that. There's a little video that I posted that she did it a couple years ago. Dane Wigington's done a lot of reports. A lot of people are now getting their snow and their rain tested. I mean, we can't get into geoengineering right now, but it's very closely tied to the climate change, because if they do certain kinds of geoengineering in the afternoon, which they do here every fucking afternoon and evening, then it keeps the heat in at night and you feel like it's warmer than it's supposed to be. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So I don't know. We got from Venezuela to geoengineering because
that's your fault. No, wait. Venezuela. I think Venezuela's a target. I think Iran is a done deal. I really do. I do. I think that's ripe for. I think we're going to go in there. I'm. And
they don't threaten anyone. Iran threatens nobody.
Right. I mean, if they have been demonized almost more than any country in the Middle East, they've been working on that forever.
They don't have a cartel central bank. They do not have a cartel central bank.
Neither does North Korea, right?
North Korea doesn't either.
And Venezuela wanted to get rid of us.
Them, yep. And that's why the cartel created the whole BRICS idea.
Right.
So that Venezuela and the countries down there would have a place to go where they could be controlled sideways. But Venezuela sat through that and they said, fuck that. And also, no country's allowed to have a true socialist country and have it succeed. That's not allowed because they don't want the rest of the world to have any ideas. And that's why they've been destroying the economy and putting out lying, false videos of people going into the stores with nothing on the shelves and the rioting in the streets. Most of it is a lie. Okay, we can't get into all of that. We get 9 minutes. White helmets. Did you look at this one, Deb?
I did. I looked at this briefly, but the white helmets are a sore spot for me. And the people who believe in this stuff really bother me because they're immovable, some of them. They do so much good. I said, have you ever seen some of the videos they've been caught in? I mean, they're out there. I downloaded them. I was afraid they were going to be taken off YouTube. So I actually have a YouTube downloader and I have them on my hard drive. But yeah, and then what? They're going global. Does that surprise you? What?
Yeah. So is that one of the articles that we posted, Will? That the now the white helmets are suddenly global. That's just more NGO control shit. More double speak.
I think that was I think that was from last week with Harsh, and we didn't get into it too much, I think. Right. But that was the whole thing was, oh, great, they're going global now. What more proof do people need that they're a hoax than that? Seriously.
Yeah, there's, Eva Bartlett and Vanessa Beeley have done the really great reporting on this, where they've shown that, like, the girl who was talking about the supposed Syrian girl who was like had this wonderful articulate heartfelt Twitter stream about how horrible things were there, and then she was in Istanbul, their family, and the reporter asked her an unscripted question. He said he asked her how did she like the food in Istanbul, and she like repeated some statement about how she just wanted freedom, and then her mother whispered to her something, and then the reporter went on to the next question, and he said, so are you in school now? And the girl went, I like fish.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Clearly didn't speak any English at all. I mean, she had a little some coaching and pronunciation, and maybe could speak words, but yeah.
I
throw white helmets were saving me.
Yeah. And they win what? They win Academy Awards or whatever it was. I mean, and that right there is for Americans, that's what could be more credible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
to get out of the matrix.
Yeah. Okay, don't worry about it, because Oprah's waiting for God to give her direction on 2020. Have you heard that one yet?
Well, look, what they're saying is they're waiting for the numbers to come back for the market research.
God must be doing that research.
The white helmets hit it out of the park on the persuadability of the market research, and that's why they're. Okay, so I think that my God, we're at 12:54 and we did it. Any parting words, Deb? I want to come visit you.
You want to come visit me?
Cape with you and laugh our asses off out on the beaches at Truro.
We should get out of P-Town.
Let's get out of P-Town. That was such a fucking blast.
Yeah, we should do that this summer. We'll get out of P-Town.
All right. That means somebody needs to PayPal me.
Let's set up a GoFundMe. We need to have a face-to-face strategy session.
We need to do that. Deb, before we go, you need to do all of your pitches. For anyone watching this knows about the Greene Fyre Review. We're now on 6 or 7 different platforms. Will is now managing things. He is incredibly a badass. Deb, give us your pitch on May Day and Become Ungovernable, and you're going to take us out.
Yeah. So here's my big focus right now. Become Ungovernable. We're a little teeny group, okay? And it's me and Susan and my niece more often than not. And then we have other people from other parts of the country now starting to say, I want to help. Amy Snow's in, So what we want to do is we want to strike. And it doesn't have to be everybody in this country, but it has to be enough to create initial ripple. Because my thing is, okay, we get one under our belts. That's what people say. People say we need to do a week. I go, oh my God, people are afraid of a day. For me to convince people to do a week from the beginning, that's a no-go. They're not even want to hear that. So we want to get one going, and we want to do one on Labor Day. Okay. Right. And then we want to do one on midterm election day if we can. That's what I would love to see, a midterm election strike.
It should be a national holiday anyway. Paper ballot.
Yeah, and what I want to do is I want to be outside on midterm election day trying to convert the Green Party. That's what I want to do. I want people. I'm just trying to bring people away from the duopoly. I think that's what has to happen. If you're a Republican, vote Libertarian. If you're a Democrat, vote Green. If you have to vote, do that instead.
Right. And but we also, another thing that we need, Deb, is we need to found a citizen organization that can run the exit polls, because they're completely, they've stopped doing them because people realized that what they were doing is an exit poll. And then they look at the numbers and they go, oh, the exit poll was wrong. Adjusted it. No, listen, they'd say, oh, the exit poll was wrong, so we adjusted it. And everyone goes, okay, like, what the fuck was the point of the poll? How fucking stupid.
No, seriously.
Unbelievable thing. When I saw that they were doing that, I started calling that those incredibly scary UN peacekeepers come in and cover our elections.
I said I don't care who's in there now, but somebody's got to be in there. Just put Bill Clinton in there with a freaking megaphone. Why not?
My God. I mean, how fucking stupid are we?
I know.
Well, we had to adjust and the paper ballots too. Well, the paper ballots didn't match electronics, so we had to adjust them. And I'm like, why are we on the fucking street?
I know, and seriously,
I never heard.
Why are we talking about voting like it even matters after listening to shit like that? I just don't understand it. We're gonna go out and vote and we'll fix all this. We
need to go check out Richard Charnan's work on this. Bev Harris, what's his name from the Rolling Stone with the hat, Greg Palast. He has a little piece of it.
I love
He's highly biased. He's got he got sucked into the duopoly. He seems scared. I think he's somebody who just got compromised. We don't know what happened there, but he has a little piece of the truth about how the Republicans do it. But you also have to look at how the Democrats do it. Deb Lusignan did a really beautiful job of following all of the bullshit that happened with the throwing of the primaries. Election Justice USA. People, do your research.
Yes. And you know what I also have to look up? I wanted to say this on the school shooting thing, one other issue. The other night, I think I downloaded it. I have to find it. Claudia Stauber put up some posts that came up that were on that shooting that were dated the day before the shooting. So I got to see what that's all about, because somebody said that could be Photoshop, but there's all potent.
We need to focus on the real news, okay? So we just covered like the headlines, but the truth is, did anyone do anything this week on getting back our electromagnetic freedom? Did anyone do anything about paper ballots with citizens counter the citizen website? Did anyone do anything about public banking? Did anyone do anything this week about creating a cooperative? We did. We have a cooperative going, and I had meetings with Bob Bose about public banking and taking the next steps with that. And I'm working on the smog freedom, and we also have our freedom of the press. So we're working on our platform. So this is our freedom of press.
My big thing is being able to have free access to information. That's my big thing right now.
That's right.
And my thing is just right now, I need to get the strike going. We're looking at May, and we need to create some kind of ripple somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking now we need to talk about shutting something down. One location. If you have something like that, it grows from there, right? Okay. And it also serves notice. So we have to start serving notice too.
And are you organizing this through your website?
I am organizing it through my website. I have multiple emails. I'll post everything.
Okay, great.
Where people can go if they want to sign on to get brochures and start leaving them in their communities about the strike. They can either download them and copy them themselves, or I can get them copies.
Great.
Right? So I will put all of that stuff out there, and they'll know where to go. Go to this email for if you want to join on. Go to this email if you have questions. We have a website. We got all kinds of stuff going on.
Are you interfacing with the World Socialist website? You really should.
Yeah, I've sent them an email. I also contacted at least 5 places here, at least in the New England area, that are activist groups, and I'm trying to get them to come on board. And maybe if we get some people on board for the strike in Massachusetts, we can inspire other things in the rest of the country. So that's what I'm trying to do, is get people to figure out where they can pull people in. Like Socialist Alternative's been kind of quiet out here in Boston compared to what they were doing during the primary season. But
they were calmed by the whole Antifa bullshit. They were scared. Yeah, go through and wake them up. Okay, we're at the hour, and Deb's going to have her links. Contribute to Deb's efforts to get us organized. This is powerful stuff. We're going to be back next week, and anyone who wants to contribute to the Green Fire Review effort as a volunteer, we need lots of volunteers. We need help on our other social media sites. We need video editors. Will is over here smiling his guts off. He's smiling so wide that I can see his pancreas. He's all over there like, he's got that Mormon Bates scary. He's got that Mormon Bates smile,
He does, huh? That's a good smile to have some days.
That's right. We don't.
Some mornings it keeps the kids away, I have to tell you.
Deb, you and I smile in a way that makes people think we're just about to bite them. We're like,
I know, that's true. Yeah, hi there.
All right. I love you so much, Deb.
I love you too.
Hey, what's your middle name?
All right, you ready for this? Don't tell anyone. Everybody's going to hear this now. My actual first name is Francis. My middle name is Deborah. But as we say in my family, my mother won the war. My father won the battle. He wanted my first name Francis. She wanted Deborah. So what happened was he snuck down and changed my name, but no one ever called me Francis, even him. So
you know what? I was scheduled to be born on Columbus Day, and I was going to be Columbina. And I was like, no fucking way in hell. I stayed in the room for another 6 days. And I was born while my dad was sitting watching Little Annie Rooney with Mary Pickford.
Yeah.
Came out with red hair, which they didn't suspect because it skips generations in my family. Goes back to the whole Jewish thing. We were Sephardic Jews anyway. So my dad said, oh, it's my little Mary Rooney. And my mother was like, all right. And I just barely escaped being Columbina. What is with Italian families? I'm sorry. Let's have that conversation sometime.
I know we must. The name thing was a big thing. I said, I cannot be, no one can call me Fran. That's not happening. The nuns used to call me Francis in school and I wouldn't answer. That's all I'm going to say.
Will is telling us to wrap it up. Will, come on. It's not like somebody's coming on next. Get over yourself. All right. Good. All of a sudden, he's like this Nazi who's over there. He's like, and I'm like, we have Les Moonves over here in the corners. Like, you're taking up our advertiser time. All right. We got to go, Deb. I love you. And Green Fire, I guess she's gone. So Green Fire signing out. Why were you rushing us?
I'll tell you why afterward. Okay, let's see. Refresh. I hope it's under 1 hour.